welcome. Tonight, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, promises Benue improved security and infrastructure, urges support for President Tinubu's second term. Abuja building collapse survivor pulled from rubble after 10 hours by combined rescue teams. Nigeria's female basketball team, the Tigers, wins the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro-Basket. Nigeria beats Mali 78-54 to clinch the title for the 5th consecutive time and 7th overall. And far-right Israeli minister defies status quo, prays attends in Jerusalem holy site amid rising tensions. We begin tonight with a strong reassurance from the federal government, promising the people of Benue a renewed security and developments in the area. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, says the federal government remains fully committed to protecting lives and property in the state, even as effort to strengthen Nigeria's overall security architecture continues to intensify. Speaking in Abuja while receiving political leaders from Kwande and Oshongo local government areas of Benue State, led by Mr. Telmun Aputu, Senator Akume emphasized that improved security is only one aspect of the broader federal agenda for Benue State. He reveals that the state is also set to benefit from major infrastructural development and projects aimed at improving livelihoods and boosting economic stability.
It's a high-stake visit in Abuja as political leaders from Kwande and Oshongo local government areas of Benue State meet with the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, seeking federal intervention over rising security concerns back home. Leading the delegation, Mr. Telum Aputu reaffirmed their unwavering support for President Bola Tinubu's administration and pledged commitments to his second-term ambition.
We came to give him our support, to tell him that we are resolved to ensure that we follow him faultlessly. We want to assure you that the entire Kwande State, they are behind you, they are following you without any question. Whatever stand you take, we are following that stand.
With the backdrop of recent attacks in their communities, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, reassures the delegation that the federal government is resolute in combating insecurity and restoring safety in all parts of Benue State.
This government has done so much to address this major challenge, and results are there for everyone to see. In Benue State, you recall, the president was supposed to be in Kaduna. He decided, in his wisdom and patriotism, to move to Benue State and to see things for himself.
Beyond security, discussions also centers on infrastructure development and the president's vision for sustainable growth across the region. After hours behind closed doors, the leaders, drawn from across political lines, emerge with a unified voice, pledging to foster peace, stability and collaboration across their constituents.
The SGF has reassured us of his support for our people. He has also discussed with us on the security situation in Benue State. As you know, Kwande local government, which is my constituency, has one of been the hardest hit and on the issues of this insecurity. So he has reassured us that the President Bola Tinubu, has done so much, and we are seeing the results.
Though calm has returned to parts of the affected areas, the leaders remain hopeful that lasting peace and development will take root in their agrarian communities.
Troops of the 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wellstroke, in collaboration with the DSS operatives, have already rescued a lecturer at the Taraba State University, Mr. Joshua Saleh, who was abducted by suspected criminals on July the 31st, 2025, along the Chinkai-Kente-Wokari Road in Wokari local government area of Taraba State. A press statement issued by the Public Relations Officer, Lieutenant Umar Mohammed, says that following credible intelligence, the troops launched a targeted rescue operation across the area. According to that statement, the team encountered the kidnappers, engaged them in a fierce gun battle before rescuing Mr. Saleh unharmed. Staying with security matters, the commandant of the Nigerian Defence Academy, Major General Abdul Khalifa Ibrahim, says that cadets undergoing leadership training in the Citizenship and Leadership Training Center in Jos, Plateau State, are fully prepared to bolster the security of the country. The cadets, drawn from 72 regular corps and short service corps 84, are participating in the Camp Highland Adventure and leadership training ahead of their commissioning.
Over 470 cadets from the Nigerian Defence Academy are currently undergoing rigorous adventure and leadership training in the rocky terrains of the Shere Hills in Jos, Plateau State. The training, tagged Camp Highland, is a critical component of their preparation before commissioning into the Nigerian Army. The exercise is designed to develop leadership skills under pressure in order to build resilience. The commandant of the academy is confident that the cadets will significantly support the military's efforts in addressing Nigeria's multifaceted security challenges.
The training here and even what we have given them in the academy, improves their stamina, their endurance, their resilience, their ability to confront challenges and overcome them. And those are some of the things you saw here, the obstacle. You know, they have different scenarios here, both on land and in the water. And these are the kind of challenges that they will face when they are commissioned pretty soon. And I know with this training, they will come out tops.
The cadets believe the training has equipped them with the physical, mental, and tactical skills necessary to serve effectively in the Nigerian Army.
The aim of this exercise is for us to build resilience, to build endurance, to build critical thinking ability, and to become a great teamwork, a great team leader.
This adventure phase contains watermanship, abseiling and rappelling from a cliff, obstacle crossing, and parachute jumping. It is aimed at building the cadets' resilience, teamwork, critical thinking, and endurance. We are now better prepared as cadets to tackle challenges once we are being commissioned as officers in the Nigerian Army.
With the commissioning of the cadets just a few weeks away, the young officers are optimistic that peace will be restored to all parts of the country.
The chairman of the Police Service Commission, Mr. Hashimu Argungu, has warned against the lopsided recruitment and the sale of employment slots by staff of the Federal Character Commission, stressing that anyone found guilty will face legal action. Mr. Argungu issued the warning during a courtesy visit to the chairman of the Federal Character Commission in Abuja, where he reaffirmed the commitment of the commission to transparent and equitable police recruitment across the country. According to him, fairness and equity must guide the selection process, ensuring that local government, states, and geopolitical zones are adequately represented.
The key stakeholders in recruitment or employment issue, you are the key also in this. The one for police, I mentioned Municipal Police Affairs, Federal Character Commission, the Nigerian Police, and the Police Service Commission. So we have to put head and do it and expose the bad eggs among us. You are involved in selling any slot, anyhow, believe me, we will arrest you and charge you to court. We investigate the source. So I'm also telling here, you are the Federal Character Commission. You have to behave as a member of the Federal Character Commission. If you involve yourself in selling slots, believe me, we'll trace you and deal with you. So now, to be for one is to be for what?
In his remarks, the acting executive chairman of the Federal Character Commission reaffirmed its commitment to fairness, inclusiveness, and national unity.
I want to reaffirm our commitment and readiness to work closely with the Police Service Commission in monitoring and ensuring federal character compliances in the Nigerian Police Force. We are confident that this partnership will serve the best interests of our people and contribute to a safer and more secured, united Nigeria. In closing, let me commend your leadership and members of your service, of your commission, for the vital work you are doing and your commitment to serve and your integrity. Together, let us continue to build institutions that reflect the diversity of our great country and uphold the ideas of rights, equity, and justice.
It was a race against time that ended against expectations of many people. A man had been pulled alive from the tangled wreckage of a three-story building that collapsed in Abuja's Life Camp area after clinging to life for nearly 10 hours. While the city breathes a collective sigh of relief, authorities are now revealing the cause of that disaster. The FCT administration's Deputy Director of Building Inspectorate, Charles Obialo, says the preliminary investigation points to a grave oversight. Our correspondent, Kluvia Boduwadi, reports.
Bent irons, broken blocks, rubble is what is left of this three-story building after it collapsed during the late hours of Saturday, the 2nd of August, 2025. Just like these two others still under construction, this building was still under construction when it caved in at the Life Camp district of Abuja. According to a statement by the FCT Police Command, upon receipt of a distress call at about 6:15 p.m., the command mobilized a rescue team to the site. The team, alongside officials of the Federal Capital Territory Development Control and the National Emergency Management Agency, rescued one Aliyu Salisu, a 27-year-old male, trapped under the rubble. This is corroborated by the Security Services Department of the FCTA.
Around some minutes to 7, we got an information that a building collapsed, and immediately every action agencies of the FCT administration were mobilized to site. We stayed there until after 4 a.m. this morning, when the trapped victim was successfully rescued. He's doing fine. He's in the hospital, doing fine. No fatality at all.
But what really is the cause of the building collapse?
Preliminary report from the consultant that conducted a preliminary forensic investigation reveals that three critical columns in the structure on the ground floor had a differential settlement as a result of water ingress into the foundation arising from exposure, abandonment of the structure over a long period of time. That structure has been abandoned over more than 3-4 years now.
Access to the victim, who is still on admission at a private hospital, is denied. In 2024, 4 people were confirmed dead and 105 persons rescued from different sites of building collapse in the FCT.
There are 2 primary reasons why a building will collapse. The first one is faulty building foundation, and then the second one is the use of substandard building materials. Hopefully, developers in the FCT and beyond take a cue from these incidents to avert future occurrence. From the nation's capital, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, displaced residents of Gujba in Oyo State decry lack of farmland, struggle to revive livelihoods in host communities. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, promises Benue improved security and infrastructure, urges support for President Bola Tinubu's second term. Abuja building collapse survivor pulled from rubble after 10 hours by combined rescue teams. Nigeria's female basketball team, the Tigers, wins the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro-Basket. Nigeria beats Mali 78-54 to clinch the title for the 5th consecutive time and 7th overall. And far-right Israeli minister defies status quo, prays at 10th Jerusalem holy site amid rising tensions. The Nigerian police force have arrested the Director, Investigation and Prosecution of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Mr. Joseph Eriki, alongside one Mr. Boniface Agwo, who are to be arraigned on October the 30th, 2025. The duo were the first and third defendants in a suit filed against them by the federal government on alleged criminal conspiracy, criminal trespass, and forgery. Justice Suleiman Belgori of the FCT High Court sitting in Garki had on the May 27th this year issued a bench warrant for the arrest and arraignment of the defendants on a 9-count charge bordering on alleged land grabbing. The prosecutor, David Kwase, had told the court that the defendants were on administrative bail and had been duly informed of the charges against them, but all efforts to bring them to court had been abortive. The defendants were alleged to have unlawfully entered a property belonging to a private entity, put up structures with intention of defrauding the company. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, is sure of upgrading the airports to global standard with a newly improved 712 billion naira fund for overhaul of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. The Leonard Silk explains that those are agitating for an overhaul of the air facility should wait and see what becomes of it in the next 22 months. He spoke on our political program, Sunday Politics.
The place is totally decrepit. And this has been going on for so many years. Many governments have been thinking of, making sure that they bring it up to world standard. Lagos is not a hub. But that was the plan from 1977 when it was designed, and then 79 when it was commissioned. You cannot process one passenger from one terminal to the other terminal. So all of that has stunted the growth of aviation in Nigeria over the years. So Mr. President thought that this was a proper time to address this issue once and for all, especially as this government promised Nigeria major infrastructural upgrades across Nigeria from, of course, the savings we're having now from the removal of subsidies and the floating of the naira. Now, what we are trying to do in Lagos now is to make Lagos, one, a very modern international airport, and two, to make it a proper hub to begin at least to compete with other hubs in Africa. So we want to now build this, completely pull down that Terminal 1, that old building. If you're approaching the airport to that long stretch of road, there's one big building facing you with the Murtala Mohammed Airport boldly written. That is Terminal 1. First of all, you know that wide bodies cannot come in there. Those double aisle, aircraft. They cannot come to anchor. Why? They are design errors. You went to build them when things are, major hangars are blocking the apron or the taxiway into that airport. We're going to pull all that down and expand that apron. And so that airport now can properly take big body aircraft. It is not a refurbishment.
Or renovation.
I'm just explaining what we are doing.
It's a rebuilding.
Complete. We are tearing it down. Only the pillars will remain, the carcass, the decking, everything will go. We are now making it a smart airport.
Okay.
So when they see this kind of money, I told people this morning, when I brought out a statement, I said, you don't need to do big research. Just pick your phone as you are then at home. Just Google the cost of the new airport, and not even building a new airport, remodeling and refurbishment. Oliver Tambo, $1.2 billion. Angola, $3.5 billion. Cambodia, about $1.5 billion. JFK, It's about $9-something billion. They are doing expansion way up past to New York. JFK, $9-something billion. It's much far cheaper to tell you all of these things I explained now. And we are getting less than $500 billion. It's a steal. This is just a steal. Because our Bureau for Public Procurement, don't forget that it's not the ministry, it's not me. So people don't think that no, it's not me that sat down to do this. We have an agency of government, people know how government works. It's the Bureau for Public Procurement. That bureau has experts, engineers, quantity surveyors, everything. They look at your bill of quantities and begin to argue line for line with you. And so it's the Bureau for Public Procurement that approves money, figures, not ministry.
How should economic performance be really measured? Well, especially with the fast-paced changing global trade uncertainties, crude oil price volatility, fears of inflation, high interest rates, and proxy wars. Well, Nigeria government says it remains positive on the growth and development outlook for the rest of the year. And this is aligned with growth projection of the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF. Well, the question is no longer how much Nigeria is growing, but how impactful this growth is. So tonight, Babajio, who is the founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's chief data analyst, is here to share the latest facts and figures on Nigeria's financial and economic situation. Thank you very much, Babajio, for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you, Anne.
Global trade uncertainties are far from over if we look at this. Now, the Nigerian economy is already growing, though below potential. How exposed is the Nigerian government earnings to crude oil in the first half of 2025?
Crude oil tariffs, there's some good news and there's some bad news on that. The good news is that Nigeria's #1 export crude oil on this tariff war is exempt from all of these tariffs. So the good news is our #1 export wouldn't feel the pressure of the tariffs from the United States. However, the bad news lies in that 9-letter word, contagion. And that is because Nigeria still imports a lot of manufacturing products and a lot of other goods from other countries. Now, these countries, we're all in that global economy, and these countries are highly tied to the United States. So the summary is, even though the good news shows that we're not exposed to the tariffs because of crude oil, we understand that other countries that we trade with, other countries that we import products from and goods, these countries rely largely on their relationship with the United States. So the summary is, we might be exposed to non-crude oil imports to the tune of between 3 to 10% in the future. So the future again remains highly volatile based on our non-oil crude imports. And again, like I said, a lot of these non-oil crude imports, some come from the United States, but a lot more comes from Asia and Europe. So interesting days ahead. But speaking of the 9-letter word, apart from contagion, another interesting 9-letter word is diversify. And we remember in the last 2 decades, especially in this decade we are from 2015, one of the things that we felt was going to get us out of poverty and into prosperity was if the Nigerian government diversified from oil and moved into other non-oil revenue. So then the thinking, the assumption was that diversifying the economy would lead to prosperity. The question we need to ask ourselves is the economy diversified now, and has the prosperity come? And if we take a look at the facts, the evidence shows that there are a lot of things to worry about, because looking at the data, diversifying government revenues has not led to prosperity. And the evidence is clear. About this time in the first half of 2015, revenue to the Federation accounts 3.5 trillion naira, and 58% of that revenue was from oil. Now, a decade ago, the questions and the concerns were that we need to diversify the amount of money and diversify the economy so that oil revenue contributes less and non-oil contributes more. Have we achieved that? And the good news is, yes, we've been able to achieve diversifying revenue to the Federation account. And so look at, compared to where we were in the first half of 2015, oil revenue contributing 58%, accounting for 58% of Federation revenue. 2022, that was down to 38%. First half of 2022, first half of 2023, down to 31%. First half of last year, down to 29%. So clearly, Oil is contributing less to the Federation account, but the question is, has prosperity come? Has poverty left? And so the evidence we really have seen now is that we've tried the oil revenue model. We did not get out of poverty. We are now in the non-oil revenue model. Poverty is still with us. So clearly, we've seen that the bridge to cross from poverty to prosperity, that bridge is really about productivity. And by only a productive economy, based on all the evidence that we've seen on these trends, is how we'll really get out of the woods.
In about 60 days, I mean, discussions around the 2026 budget will be the focus. The question now will be that, is government revenue growing, and what has been the performance if you look at the budget in the first half of this year?
So looking at the first half of this year, what we've seen in simple terms is the government has prioritized the schedule. But what we need in the second half is for the government to schedule its priorities. A bit different. And we now need to schedule our priorities more than just prioritizing our schedule. And what do I mean? By scheduling our priorities, it is clearer now that two things have to happen in the second half of the year. We need to grow revenue, and we need to lower expenditure in terms of we need to cut costs. So growing revenue and cutting costs. Now, why is this important? Even though we are still waiting for the official financial results for the government about first half of this year, but the trend shows that, and there are things that will really keep us worried about. Let's take a look at the chart of the week, because that allows us to understand our revenue snapshot and why a lot of those that are even within the government doing contracts, why they haven't been paid. Look at what has happened. Look at the trends. First half of 2022, revenue to the federal government, 2.1 trillion naira. 84% of that went into servicing debt. First half of 2023, yes, revenue grew, but debt service even grew faster. And so, first half of 2023, 89% of the federal government's revenue went into servicing debts. In the first half of last year, yes, revenue has grown again to 3.7 trillion naira in the first half of last year, but debt even grew significantly more, making debt service to revenue 167%. Is there hope? Based on the words of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, he says the second half of the year is brighter, and his position is, we will not waver, we will not falter. Every bill we craft, every program we design is built to serve you, enhancing your quality of life and driving the productivity that makes our nation thrive. So the question now is, our reputation has to be built, but we cannot build a reputation on the things that we say we will do. Our reputation can only be built on the things we do. And so, yes, strong words coming from the Speaker of the House of Representatives, but it has to be backed now, not just by a bill, but by action. Again, we need to grow revenue, but we need to also significantly cut our costs.
Thank you very much. Babajio, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's Chief Data Analyst, thank you for your words on the news at 10 tonight.
We'll do this again next week.
We will. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's female basketball team, D Tigress, wins the 2025 FIBA Women's Afro-Basket. Nigeria beats Mali 78-54 to claim the title for the 5th consecutive time and 7th overall. We'll bring you the details of that. Please join us again. Welcome back. Internally displaced persons living in host communities of Gujba town and Gujba local government area of Yobe State are lamenting inadequate farmlands to cultivate their crops. Although all camps were shut down 5 years ago, some IDPs in the unofficial settlement claim that they have no means of livelihood. In the special report, Channels Television examines the plight of the IDPs after being displaced from their ancestral homes 13 years ago and efforts by government to resettle them.
This is the unofficial IDP settlement at Gujba town in Gujba local government area of Yobe State, hosting individuals from Ambia Tesha, Ambia Kura, and Ambia Shuhuri communities who could not return home after years of insurgency. These children, many who are out of school, were born in this settlement and are unaware of the devastation their parents went through due to Boko Haram insurgency. Farming, being the only occupation of the IDPs, is faced with scarcity of farmlands to cultivate crops.
Since we came to this community, government had never supported us. We're facing challenges of farmland to cultivate crops. In fact, sometimes you have to hire it, and many do not have the strength to farm. Red Cross recently built tent houses for us and gave 70,000 naira each to the elderly. We want government to support us with food items periodically. Also look at our children. Most of them are out of school because we cannot afford to buy them uniform and other learning materials.
The Oyo State government had recently launched Solution for Internally Displaced Persons and Host Communities, SOLID project, to meet the needs of the IDPs. With only one ward yet to be settled, Governor Memala Buni says his government will ensure all IDPs are returned home in a dignified manner, especially those who are willing to go back.
As of today, all the displaced communities in the state except Malimdunari community in Gujiba local government area have returned and resettled. This was facilitated by the construction of infrastructure, including the local government secretariats, police stations, hospitals, schools, water facilities, markets, and other public structures carried out by the state government and supported by some development partners.
As the state government works closely with the security agencies in restoring total peace in the affected areas, the IDPs look forward to when they will return to their ancestral homes again.
In the meantime, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to transforming Nigeria's agricultural landscape through the establishment of special agro-industrial processing zones across the country. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Oyo State Agribusiness Industrial Hub in Ijayi, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, says the vision to build special agro-industrial processing zones across Nigeria will restore the country's dignity, unlock vast agricultural potentials, and create opportunities for all. And for the Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, his administration remains committed to transforming the landscape with technological innovations to drive agri-value chain for a prosperous Oyo State.
A bold step towards industrial growth and agricultural renewal is unfolding in Oyo State. Once a quiet farm settlement, the Ijayi community, established over 7 decades ago, has been reimagined as the site of a modern agro-processing zone. Rising from the old soil is a new vision modeled after the successful Fashola Agribusiness Hub. Governor Seyi Makinde's administration is expanding its agricultural footprint, transforming farming into a business-driven engine for economic development. The Ijayi Agribusiness Industrial Hub in Akinyele local government area is the latest milestone in that journey.
Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator.
At a groundbreaking ceremony, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, described the project as a federal government-backed initiative under the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zone, SAPZ. He says it will energize local industries, create jobs, and uplift farmers.
Today's event exemplifies the spirit of partnership and shared vision that is vital to our nation's progress. The SAPZ initiative is one of the cornerstones of the Renewed Hope Agenda championed by our President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. A vision rooted in restoring Nigeria's dignity, unlocking our vast potentials, and creating opportunities for every citizen.
In his keynote address, Governor Makinde says the rapid success of the Fashola model is proof that Ijayi will soon witness similar transformation. He reaffirms his commitment to establishing agribusiness hubs across all zones of the state before his tenure ends.
Let today's event be a reminder to every citizen of Oyo State. Governance is not theory, it is action. And when we say we will deliver, we mean it.
Also speaking, AFDB President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina praises the hub's potential to reduce post-harvest losses, boost employment, and stimulate rural economies.
Our goal is very clear. Is to reduce massive post-harvest losses, develop logistics and improve linkages between farm production, agro-processing and value addition, transform rural economies, and of course to create jobs.
Welcoming guests earlier, the Director General of the Oyo State Agribusiness Development Agency, OISADA, Debo Akonde, projects that the initiative will generate over 100,000 jobs and support more than 500,000 families.
ATC at Fashola, this all will be state-built and private sector managed. The establishment of 2 other agribusiness industrial hubs will host over 40 agricultural industries, cumulatively employing directly and indirectly over 100,000 people.
Other dignitaries and development partners, including Dr. Simeon Ehui of RITA, are optimistic that the project will foster a thriving agricultural value chain and strengthen the foundation for a prosperous investment-ready Oyo State.
RITA was proud to support the first agribusiness hub at Fashola. We are ready to do the same in Erua, and we are here again committed to supporting this journey in Ijaye, both as a technical partner and as a trusted source of leadership.
In the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Thank you, Excellency.
The Ijaye Hub is more than an infrastructure project. It's a symbol of strategic growth, national partnership, and a new era of agro-industrial possibilities. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
Well, Kaduna State is also boosting its own agric sector as Governor Obasani has flagged off the distribution of 400 trucks of assorted fertilizers to 100,000 smallholder farmers across the state for the 2025 wet season farming. The exercise is part of efforts to improve agric and food security in Kaduna State and the entire country. The state government has also pledged to provide insurance coverage for smallholder farmers.
The 400 trucks of fertilizers purchased by the Kaduna State government are distributed free of charge to 100,000 smallholder farmers across the 23 local government areas of the state. Governor of Kaduna State, his deputy and other top government officials are present to flag off the distribution, in addition to the 500 trucks of fertilizers that were distributed to farmers in 2024.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
According to the State Commissioner of Agriculture, the gesture is interventions designed by the administration of the governor to empower Kaduna State farmers, especially those in rural and underserved communities.
Kaduna State has continued to make agriculture a top priority. The remarkable increase in budgetary allocations to the sector over the past 2 years, the bold reform and the practical support of smallholder and commercial farmers alike reflect the clear direction this administration is taking towards building a modern, productive agricultural economy. Today's event is one of the many interventions designed to empower our farmers, especially those in the most rural and underserved communities. From increased access to inputs and mechanization, to rural infrastructural development, broad infrastructure development for improved farm market linkages, and the groundwork being laid for major projects in the Patient Agro-Industrial Processing Zone and the Quality Assurance Center. The momentum is strong and the direction is very clear.
In prioritizing agriculture as the key driver of inclusive growth, food security, and rural prosperity, the Kaduna government had budgeted over 74 billion naira for agriculture this year. However, Kaduna State Governor says the fertilizer distribution is not a standalone event, but a strategic and system-based approach to agricultural transformation involving farmers and agro-industrial processing zones.
Each beneficiary will receive 2 bags of fertilizer free of charge. Kaduna State remains the only state where smallholder farmers consistently receive fertilizer and other critical inputs at no cost. We are proud to maintain this farmer first policy, particularly for our most vulnerable and underserved communities.
In addition to each beneficiaries receiving 2 bags of fertilizers free of charge, the Kaduna State government is also enrolling 100,000 smallholder farmers into a crop risk insurance scheme designed to protect them against losses from climate change-related diseases.
We must thank God for an enabling environment that is now relative peace for farming to take place. Hitherto, things were not that easy. People wanted to farm, but no way because of insecurity. With the administration of Senator Obasani, we are witnessing fantastic and improved security situations.
The Kaduna State government has also launched a special agro-industrial processing zone designed to integrate production, processing and marketing within the same ecosystem, especially for crops like maize, tomatoes, ginger and soybean, where Kaduna is leading.
The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wali Edu, is reiterating the federal government's support for the nation's youth, stressing that their resilience, strength and innovation lie at the heart of the nation's socio-economic development. Mr. Edu, who was speaking at an event organized by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, says that while the federal government has opened up various funding initiatives to help them bring their potentials to the fore, they must seek ways to key into these opportunities offered to create jobs and income for themselves. Our business correspondent, Sarah Achimugu, reports.
It's the 3rd edition of the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority Prize for Innovation. The platform identifies and nurtures homegrown solutions, encourages youth entrepreneurship, economic diversification, and reposition Nigerian innovators for global relevance.
In Nigeria, you are leading the way. And in this day of artificial general intelligence, super intelligence is so critical that you keep on being encouraged to really move the needle. And I think it's very important that the focus on healthcare, focus on education, and indeed in agriculture.
The initiative is executed in collaboration with the Presidential Initiative for Unlocking the Healthcare Value Chain, as well as other partners, and seeks to optimize and scale up impact, especially in rural communities.
This country is really at the verge of making a big breakthrough in all sectors, thanks to the amazing activity of our entrepreneurs. Today is all about partnerships with the private sector, partnership with government and city government agents present, but more importantly, the amazing entrepreneurs that we are seeing today.
Minister's dedication to fostering innovation and empowering entrepreneurs reflects the values of the MWF, which seeks to build bridges between the United States and Africa, while supporting the next generation of leaders. His work is a shining example, how alumni of all programs continue to make meaningful contributions to the communities and countries.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, 70% of Nigeria's population are young people, and the federal government is hoping to support the development of the nation's youths through various initiatives.
What the NSIA is doing is offering the following. We're offering 3 sets of prizes, but it's actually not a cash prize. It's actually largely an equity prize. So we are putting together this platform in order to find the 3 best ideas for NSIA to invest in. There is a modest component of what will be a grant, but a significant majority would be equity into the top 3.
The Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority hopes that this platform will increase funding of innovation. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
The Adamawa state government has expressed deep appreciation to President Bola Tinubu for the swift intervention and prompt delivery of relief materials to victims affected by last Sunday's devastating flash floods. Speaking on behalf of Governor Amadu Marufintiri, the Deputy Governor, Professor Kalitapwa, George also commended the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, for its unwavering support during emergencies. She assured the president that the materials will be distributed transparently and directly to verified victims to ensure the intended impact is fully achieved.
The devastating flash floods that ravaged parts of Adamawa State have left a trail of destruction, with homes, farmlands and property worth millions destroyed. 23 lives were lost in the disaster, leaving countless residents displaced and now living in temporary camps or with relatives. However, a glimmer of hope has arrived. To ease their suffering, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has been providing essential relief. Now, even more support has arrived, this time from the presidency. The Deputy Governor of Adamawa State visits the NEMA warehouse in Yola to inspect the newly arrived supplies. She's joined by NEMA's Northeast Zonal Director. The Zonal Director highlights the crucial role played by NEMA's Disaster Response Unit in evacuating victims and managing emergency operations during the peak of the flood crisis.
What we brought now is food and not food items in very large quantity. The President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, graciously approved these food items for the flood victims to be immediately shared by NEMA and other stakeholders directly to the beneficiaries without delay. And that is the philosophy behind our immediate intervention, to bring support to them.
The Deputy Governor, on her part, is grateful for the intervention by the President and announces plans to set up a committee for the proper enumeration and distribution of relief to affected households.
We want to say thank you to the President of Nigeria. We also want to say thank you to NEMA as a body. And I just made a promise on behalf of the Governor of Adamawa State that whatever we have received, we assure you that we judiciously give them out to the affected people so that it can bring succor and help to our people. And to let you know that as a state government, we've already constituted a committee to go out, enumerate the houses that were affected, because we are not only sharing these materials to the people on the camp. There are many other families that did not move to the camp, but they are still remaining in the neighborhood among their neighbors and with their brothers and sisters.
The relief items include essential food staples like rice, maize and spaghetti, as well as non-food items like mattresses, blankets and clothing, all aimed at providing immediate succor to the flood victims.
The introduction of Glenlivet into the Nigerian market is an example of a mature selection of oak casks with a spicy edge and complex finish. While the unveiling, which held at Euphoria in Ikoyi, Lagos, was an ambassador dinner which brought together taste makers for a sensorial journey led by international brand ambassador and whiskey connoisseur Cameron Piper.
It's the unveiling of the Glenlivet's latest into the market as guests are welcomed into a guided tasting of 4 of the brand's most celebrated expressions and commitment to authenticity and sophistication. The Glenlivet deepens its connection in Nigeria with the official unveiling of its newly appointed brand ambassadors, which include Ebuka Obi-Ochendu, Osas Igodaro, and Farouk Oriagba. The evening opens with the Glenlivet 12-year-old, renowned for its smooth floral notes, the Glenlivet 15-year-old French Oak Reserve that imparts a spicy edge, and then the Glenlivet 18-year-old, a whiskey celebrated for its rich harmony of oak, spice, and dried fruit. And last but not the least is the Glenlivet 21-year-old.
For us, it's about a refined evolution. It's about celebrating people who are reflecting and mirroring our brand value, which is Live Original. So that's why tonight you have a lot of people joining the event that are like-minded people who really I would say, shake things up and are original, entrepreneur, ambitious, and celebrating progress.
The new Glenlivet brands for the evening is a combination of an exclusively woven Nigerian flavors with international sensibilities, which shows how it expresses itself in nightlife or social culture.
It's the first time we're activating in markets, but it's meant for individuals who choose to live their life originally. The brand is for those who don't conform to the norm. And it's how we express the brand in every perpetuality. It's how we see the brand, what we activate. You can take a look around at what you can see. It's never been done before. We're original, we're pioneers, and that's how we actually activate the brand in markets.
As Nigeria's traditional narrative continues to evolve, the brand's presence is not just a market gesture, but a shared moment of legacy that defines the future on its own terms.
We create new things, we become the kings of the place, and exactly what Glenlivet are going to be. The taste of this liquid is great. It exactly suits the palate of Nigerian consumers, and I tell you, we are in for a wonderful experience.
The Ambassador's Dinner marks the first phase in a broader Nigerian campaign focused on cultural storytelling, taste-maker advocacy, and immersive brand experiences, as the evening is a celebration of exceptional flavor, a reflection of the Glenlivet's ethos of true craftsmanship, originality, and a legacy of setting standards.
Let's delve into the world of sports now, where once again Nigerian women are blazing the trail, rewriting history books, and of course dominating their continental opponents. Nigeria's D-Tigers have etched their own names in history as the first team to win 5 consecutive women's Afro-basketball titles, following a commanding 78-64 victory over Mali in Abuja, Côte d'Ivoire. After a shaky start and a 26-21 loss in the first quarter, the team rallied back in the second, outscoring Mali at 25-20 to level the game at 41-41 going into halftime. They then carried the momentum into the third quarter, finishing 25-20, and went on in rampage in the final stretch, dishing out 17 points while restricting Mali to just 8 points. Victoria Macaulay seals the victory with a clutch 3-point jumper. Ezinne Kalu was the standout performer, contributing 20 points, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. Emi Okonkwo added 19 points, 9 rebounds and 3 assists. The win now marks Nigeria's 7th Afro-basket title overall and extends the unbeaten run in the tournament to 29 games. Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman has formally handed in the transfer request at Atlanta after accusing the club of broken promises. The 27-year-old, a reported target for Inter Milan, said that he had reached an agreement with the club's board that he could leave if a fair offer arrived. Lookman wrote on his official X account saying, "Despite now receiving an offer in alignment with what I believe had been discussed, sadly, the club are blocking the opportunity for reasons I do not understand. As a result, after many months of broken promises, I feel I have no choice but to speak out for what I believe is right, and I feel that enough is enough. I can confirm I now have handed in a formal transfer request." Lookman joined Atlanta from RB Leipzig in 2022, scoring 52 goals in 117 appearances, including a hat-trick in the 2024 Europa League final. And away from sports outside our shores, Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir has already visited the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem and prayed there, violating decade-old arrangements covering one of the most sensitive sites in the Middle East. Photos and videos of his visit show him leading Jewish prayers at the compound, which is known by Jews as a Temple Mount and is occupied in East Jerusalem. Praying at the site breaks a long-time arrangement that allows Jews to visit the site but not to pray. The Israeli Prime Minister's office released a statement saying that they had no change to Israeli policy of maintaining the status quo agreement that allows only Muslim worship there. But Jordan, custodian of that site, called Ben-Gvir's latest visit an unacceptable provocation. And the main news again. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has promised Benue State improved security and infrastructure. He's also asked support for President Bola Tinubu's second term. And Nigeria's female basketball team, the Tigress, have won the 2025 FIBA Women's Afrobasket. Nigeria defeated Mali 78-54 to claim the title for the 5th consecutive time and 7th overall. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawade. Good night and have a wonderful week ahead.